Once again, here we are. This is Miles Crosby along with Barry Moore from the Preston Standard. PRTC also bringing you this on 93.7 and also Channel 57. We're broadcasting live on the radio station on 93.7 tonight, and we'll be rebroadcast on Channel 57 with PRTC. Now, once again, each candidate will get 2 minutes to answer the questions, and then at the end of the question period, we'll have a 3-minute summary. So we're going in alphabetical order. So once again, first up to answer the question will be Mr. Otis Rhodes. And Mr. Rhodes, are you ready? All right, here we go. All right, first off, once again, ladies and gentlemen, please try and keep the noise to a bare minimum. Mr. Rhodes, why do you feel you're the best candidate to be sheriff?
Good evening. I'm Otis Rhodes, Democratic candidate for sheriff. I feel that I'm the best candidate because with my leadership experience, my skills, my leadership skills, and I'm vested in this community. I was always in this community for the last 47 years. I've been involved, not just because I was at one time working at the police department, but because I love my community and I'm strongly vested in this community. Also, I'm a 1987 graduate of Walter High School. I'm a 4-year military veteran, United States Army, where I served a tour of duty at, Iraq War, 1 year in Afghanistan, Iraq, I know I'm the best candidate. I got 21 years experience, not just in law enforcement, but my proven leadership ability make me a better candidate. I'm transparent, I'm a leader, I do the right thing even when it's not always the popular thing to do. I will still do the right thing. I'm not afraid to tackle the tough task at hand. And like I say, not because it's right to do, but not only because it's right to do, because it needs to be done. And I'm the person to do the job.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Up next, once again, for the same question, it will be our Sheriff Strickland. Sheriff Strickland, why do you feel you're the best candidate to be sheriff?
Well, I'd like to just say thanks for everybody coming out tonight. I think this is a huge crowd. We had about 5 debates 4 years ago, and none of them were this many people showed up, and it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be your current sheriff. I feel that I'm the best candidate for the job as sheriff. As the current incumbent sheriff, I think my record speaks for itself. Crime rates have gone down. People throughout the county, they feel like it's safe again. I've never been terminated or relieved on any position. I've never been investigated or accused of any crime. I'm not part of the problem, I'm part of the solution. Over the past 4 years, we've changed the negative image of law enforcement, and we made Colleton County positive, and the people here should be proud. We formed a strong team in office. When I came in 4 years ago, it was bad. The police chief and the current sheriff at the time couldn't get along with one another. Well, now we have a police chief and a current sheriff that gets along. We make things happen. It's a team effort. I work for the people of Colleton County, white or black, Republican or Democrat. I'm here for everybody. People can say what they want to say, and you can hear certain parts of the story, but I'm a leader. People don't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what's right. We've got 150 people at that sheriff's office, and I've got 40,000 people that I report to, that I work for. And I don't care where you've come from. I've had the disadvantage of losing my father at 10 years of age and my mother at 25. Just like a lot of other people, they've been through a lot of obstacles and hardships in their life. But I choose to let those things not set me behind, but to make me a better person. And I can tell you that I took advantage of those hardships, and I've given back to Colleton County, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that's been put in this job for 4 years, and I want it for 4 more to make it even better. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go to Sheriff Strickland. What experience, job and or personal, qualifies you to be sheriff?
I think, number one, my track record alone, that the crime rate has gone down. That's something that people say what they want to say, but you can't dispute. I know they feel safer. I'm more involved in what people could ever imagine. I have an additional 18 years in experience and a decorated career in law enforcement, and I also have a business background. I've never had a check bounce. It's a $7.3 million budget up there at that Collin County Sheriff's Office. And I can tell you that I'm very involved and that I run that business like it's my business, like it's your money. And again, I work for all people of Collin County. Most sheriffs, what they do is when they go out of office, they turn those checkbooks over. When I came into office, I left them where they were at the treasurer's office because I don't have anything to hide. It's your money. I just oversee it. And I've always managed my funds. And I can tell you that I will always manage the county's funds and do what's right for the right reasons. We work on limited resources, and we do what we have to do. And one of those things is we don't tell people no. Again, we don't care who you are, whether that's an ice storm, whether it's a hurricane that comes through, whether there's trees that's cut out across the roadway, whether it's even in their yard. If you need a ride, we don't care. We do what it takes to make Collin County good, proud, and a better place to live. And I'm proud to be your sheriff.
Excuse me, Mr. Rhodes, the same question. What experience, job and or personal, qualifies you to be sheriff?
Like I said earlier, I have 21 years law enforcement experience, 15 of those years being in leadership positions. 9 of my last 4 years in law enforcement, I was the chief of police. During that time, crime rate came down. We had a big problem in 2010 with gangs and other problems, and it came down, and you're now seeing some of those results from when I left in 2013. A couple months ago, early this year, in February, if I'm not mistaken, of this year, you heard about in the local paper, you heard about the RICO Act, where the gangs were indicted, big indictment. Most of that came from the arrest that was made from 2010 to 2014 during my tenure at the police department, and also George Malone's tenure at the sheriff department. Like I said earlier, I'm very transparent. A lot of things happen, we go to the media with it, but we never hear what happens after the initial case happens. We're not seeing that anymore. We used to do that constantly. We start with a case, and we end with a case, we put a newspaper at the beginning, we put a newspaper at the end. We haven't seen that in the last 4 years. We see a lot of vehicles being bought with tinted windows and being driven as their personal vehicles. That wasn't done when I was the chief of police. We had an issue with vehicles being driven as their personal vehicles, and it's happening now. You got more pickup trucks than we have police cars right now. Pickup trucks and Tahoes with tinted windows. That wasn't done before. So as my experience in the military and my professional experience and my personal experience, I'm a real good leader.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. And once again, Mr. Rhodes, you're going to be up first on this next question. What is your philosophy on policing, Mr. Rhodes?
My philosophy on policing is that we work for the people we serve. You be respectful. You treat people as you want to be treated, as you want your parents to be treated. You do the right thing. Even if it's the right thing to do when no one else is doing it, or it's the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do, you do it regardless. It's not our job to punish people. Our job to bring them to justice. It's not our job to punish them. Right now we got a lot of things going on nationally, but it's affecting us locally with relationships. And as a police officer, you try to build those relationships to build trust, so when something does happen, we could go into communities and get the information we need to solve crimes. Not the other way around. Not only when it's time to be elected, be seen, and go out to different churches and different organizations and meet and greet people, but do it throughout your whole tenure.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Sheriff Strickland, you'll have the same question. Sheriff Strickland, what is your philosophy on policing?
My philosophy on policing is just not about locking people up, but it's rather trying to reach our community through different tactics. It's being reactive. It's not only being reactive, but also proactive. I agree that we have some things going on a national level. Can y'all hear me? We okay back there? Okay. Can y'all hear me now? All right, I want everybody to hear me. It's not about just being reactive, but also proactive. We have over 25 community programs that we put into place, and we put these communities into place for a variety of people, not one group of people. I don't know what Mr. Rhodes is talking about, or what's happened in the last 4 years. I don't know where he's been the last year, but I hadn't seen a whole lot of him. But I can tell you, but we're out there. We didn't just start this the last 12 months because it's election year. I started this 4 years ago, and I don't know anything else that I can do to show that I'm from everybody. I can tell you, whether it's a water slide in the Section 8 apartment complex, or whether it's policing in Silver Hills or Druid Hills, we treat everybody the same. And we don't just put people in jail. As a matter of fact, our numbers have gone down by about 40% in our jail, and crime has gone down. So that tells me that we have the community support, that we are doing what we need to do. These guys on this hurricane, they've worked 3 and 4 days straight without going home. Unbelievable. We had 7 chainsaws running at one time or another. And anything that you called us on, we went to. You know where I was during this storm? I was a little bit everywhere. I went and I got my chaplain, and we went and and bought coloring books and crayons, and we colored with the kids. It was a mean lady in there, and she's not from here, but she was overseeing the shelter, and she wanted to cut everything off at 8 o'clock. I went and sweet talked her and put a little charm on her and says, listen, how about if we bring another deputy over here? Can we let him play basketball for another hour and a half? And it worked out great. And after that, we went to 3 other churches, and they were all African-American churches. The only reason I didn't go to Caucasian churches, I couldn't find any that was open. We go everywhere and love everybody. So it's not just about putting people in jail, but it is trying to be here for the youth, for the old, for the elderly, for all people.
Thank you. And Sheriff Strickland, the next question is to you. Nationwide, there is a disconnect between the African American community and law enforcement. What are you doing, or what will you do about this?
It's huge. It's a problem that we don't only start when we had this thing going on a national level. We started it 4 years ago. Number one, I set the pace for my office. For those 150 employees, it starts with me. I come to work as hard as it is sometimes with a positive smile on my face. I energize my chief deputy, and it goes down from there. And I know, and I've tried it, and I've tried different tactics of leadership. If I'm upset, he's upset. If he's upset, my majors are upset. And it goes on down to my dispatchers, to my jailers, to my road deputies, to everybody else, to my clerical staff. But to answer your question, let me give you an example of what we had. We have, and I'm not taking a cheap shot, but it is what it is. We had Senator Matthews that called me and says, listen, he said, Sheriff, I need some help. I need some help down here. I'm in another county, and these people don't know how to talk to people. We got a problem. This happened during this hurricane. I think it was Saturday night. And we loaded up 10 of my guys, and we were there within 15 minutes. And let me tell you, we got out the cars, and we talked to people, Caucasian as well as African American. And I put Senator Matthews in my passenger seat. I got on that loudspeaker, and I says, listen, I'm not the sheriff of this county, but I'm going to find you some answers. I'm going to help you. Bear with us. Have patience with us, that we are here for you. And then she got on the loudspeaker, and she didn't know when to get the microphone back. But anyways, she talked, and we rode around, and we talked to everybody, and we seen frowns turn upside down to smiles. And even though it wasn't our county, that wasn't a concern. It was the right thing to do. And I called that sheriff, and I said, I can tell you that you better open this road up because it's getting dark, and there's a lot of mad people. There's a lot of mad people don't know what's going on. But a lot of people just want to be informed. They want a sheriff that's involved. Am I stuck in the office all the time? Absolutely not. I'm in the office, I'm out in the office, and I've got a good group of people that if you can't get to me, that's up under me, and I'm approachable, and I'm there. But we have diversity training that we put into place. We send all churches, we don't care what denomination or what race. If you call us, we come and we talk to you and tell you what you need to do to help your congregation.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, same question. Nationwide, there is a disconnect between the African American community and law enforcement. What will you do about this?
Training. Get back in communities. This past summer, there were several young guys that some of them used to be gang members. Some of them were just knuckleheads doing things in the community they shouldn't be doing. They banded together. They had basketball games in every community in Colleton County. I haven't seen, but one time in the city limits, We saw the chief and his chief deputy come out to one of the basketball courts who was out there. No law enforcement at all. Most of the crowd was African Americans, most of the crowd. Communication is big. Transparency, another thing. Several years ago, we had an incident where a text message was sent from a sheriff department phone. It never was answered. That brings more concern in the African American community as far as disconnect, because no one's getting any answers. You know, at the time, the text message was sent. It was by one of the employees' adult son, that sent the text out, but it never has been addressed. So that causes problem. 4 years ago, our current sheriff came and visited a lot of African American churches. And for the most part, he hasn't been back to any of them yet, as of this day. The last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of visiting, a lot of different churches, talking to a lot of people in different communities, and we don't see our sheriff like that. I've been out there. I don't see the sheriff like that. He don't know where I was at the last 4 years. The last 4 years, I was out in the communities. You know, I was out here solving some of the problems, helping him solve some of the problems in our communities. But we need to go back to communication is key. And the sheriff said he didn't know where I was at, but he had my phone number. He could call me anytime he get ready. He has in the past. When they had a murder they couldn't solve, someone called me. I gave them names. They need nicknames. I give them a name. I'm very connected in this community. So we got to go back to the community, get involved with the people in the community. Like I said, not when it's election time, not when it's a tragedy or disaster or anything. We need to be out there at all times.
Mr. Rhodes, this next question will go to you first as well. What are you doing or will you do to make certain that our schools are safe?
At the moment, if I'm not mistaken, there are 5 resource officers in the school. If I'm not mistaken, the school pay half their salary, and the sheriff department pays the other half. If there's a way through grants, we could increase that with more staff in the schools. In the elementary schools, if I'm not mistaken, some of the guys go around and talk to the kids or be available to the teachers when they can, if they're patrolling that area. We could continue doing the same thing. Like I said, with grants out there, we could increase that. We'll have more people in the schools. But also you start a mentoring program within the sheriff department where they go visit the schools or visit kids in the schools. Just the presence of someone being there may thwart something from happening before it happens, or someone may go someplace else to do whatever they start to do at the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Sheriff Strickland, it'll be the same question. What are you doing or will you do to make certain that our schools are safe?
We do have 5 SROs throughout our school system, and we have 2 that's at the middle school, 2 that's at the high school, and 1 that rotates. I've put in policy and procedure to make sure that these SROs are actually spending a certain amount of time with the kids. I know what it's like losing my father at 10, and I took to law enforcement. And, you know, I chose this job maybe 4 years ago, but I feel like it's also chose me on this term. And I am more excited now than I was 4 years ago. More excited than I've ever been about anything. But again, we must have we've actually participated in active shooter training. We sent our SWAT team in. We have an awesome relationship with the superintendent and administration throughout our schools, and they call us and we come. We don't let them make our minds up for us, but we do what's right if we can help. The tie always goes to them. We're here to understand these kids aren't perfect, but at the same time, we have to do what's right. Sometimes we're a referee and we're put in a situation where we can't win either way that we go. And I can tell you now that I feel like I've handled that, I'm gonna respond back to his last question, that what he's talking about on that text message, it was dealt with. It was dealt with to the extreme, and it was more than fair. And the community was involved in what was going on. I had a certain group of people that wanted it handled it differently other than fair, and they couldn't tell me what to do. I wasn't going to allow that to happen because I know what's right. And you're not going to budge me to go anything and to do anything other than what is the right decision. And it was handled, and it was handled appropriately. I promise.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland. The next question to you. How will you improve communication between the sheriff's office and the citizens it serves?
Over the last 4 years, I think that we've shown that we have community policing that's in place. We've increased our crime watch programs to 25. We meet with them quarterly. At one time, we did send somebody to every meeting, and we have limited resources, but now it is quarterly. We host something once a year where we actually purchase food, and that I meet with all of them, whether they show up or not. We invite them. We've created several programs for our youth. The Andy Strickland summer camp, that's something I'm very proud of. It wasn't about just Andy Strickland, but it was about, I wanted to do something because I know what it was like growing up without a father and law enforcement having a big impact on my life. Easter egg hunts, trunk or treats, I can go on and on and on. During the hurricane, we were in neighborhoods, at churches, we were on the radio, Facebook. We also kept the newspapers informed. I'm constantly involved. I'm not a sheriff that shows up 1 or 2 days a week. I show up in the middle of the night. I give it all that I have. I show up at churches, whether that's a Caucasian church, an African-American church, a birthday party. I can't make all of them, but I'm here for all people. I care. I can tell you that you can't watch a movie and learn this position. You can't read a book. That is something that you have to live, and I can't explain it. And I almost wish that this was something that almost everybody got to do at least once in life, because it's tough. But at the same time, I'm honored to be here, and I'm glad to serve.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rhodes, the same question. How will you improve communication between the sheriff's office and the citizens it serves?
I would have a true open door policy. When they say open door, they could walk in my office and talk to me at any time of the day. They could call me at any time of the day, and I will respond each and every time. Text, email, communications has been so much better in the last several years as far as social media. Everyone has a cell phone now. There's a lot of other ways we could communicate, but use all of it. And like I said, have a true open door policy. Some of the programs the sheriff talking about, instead of taking the lead on them, I would join them with people in the community and let them take the lead. And we do assistance that they know what we're doing, we know what they're doing. We have partnership with the community, not me taking the lead on it. So it wouldn't seem that I'm being unfair to certain portions of the community.
All right, once again, thank you, Mr. Rhodes. And the next question, Mr. Rhodes, will also go to you first. This one is, do you think there's a gang problem in Colleton County? What are you doing or will you do about it?
There we go again, educate the public on what's going on. As far as the gang problem in Colleton County, I don't think it is as big as sometimes the media portrayed to be. It's a certain group of individuals, you know. A lot of people don't know when you label someone as a gang member, what it does. When they commit a crime as a gang, it enhances the penalty when they get sentenced for committing that crime. But what it does a lot of times is scare the people in the community, because everyone we think is a gang member as a community is not a gang member all the time. So we got to be careful how we label people as being gang members. But when they are identified as a gang member, we deal with them accordingly. But like I said earlier, I think we give them too much attention, we give them too much power as gangs. Sometimes these little groups, and they might be worse than a real gang are sometimes, but you deal with them like you're supposed to deal with them. You know, you bring them to justice. You know, let go through the court system. Use all your resources. The federal government, like I said earlier, with the RICO case, the federal government could imply that you can't impose on the local or state level, but you go through the federal government with a lot of this stuff. And there again, grants. We have grants. We could use our grants with gang members and gang activity, and also use each other. You know, when our neighbors see something that shouldn't be right, we talk to each other, let us know what's going on. Parents, educate the parents so they know what to look for, you know, so stop it before you get started.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. And Sheriff Strickland, will be the same question to you. Do you think there's a gang problem in Colleton County? What are you doing or will do about it?
I think the one gang in Colleton County is a problem. What I mean by that is anytime you have a gang, then it's a problem. I talked to 46 other sheriffs. I spend a lot of time with them, have a very good communication level with them. I talk to a lot of federal people and people on the state level, and a lot of these counties have these same issues, but I can tell you it's gotten a lot better in Colleton County. I don't even mind giving you the source. Sheriff L.C. Knight at our last sheriff's conference, so I tell you what, he said, you can have these cowboys back. They've gone everywhere from Florence to, we moved them to Atlanta. And we don't pick on anybody, but at the same time, we want to make sure that everybody has the best quality of living in Colleton County. It's not fair for people to be bullied, or it's not fair for people to think that they can cause hate and contempt in their neighborhoods. And we've had we're out there, we care, and we have, we've either put these people in jail that want to cause hate and contempt, or we run them outside the county. We've got a successful gang grant that we've had for 3 years. We were only promised it for 12 months, but we've done such a good job that they've extended it for 3 years. And I'm very proud of putting those 14 gang members to federally indict them. It was a RICO case, and that's hard to do. It's hard to just get the feds to come in. There has to be a certain protocol, checks and balances for them to come in. And it took us about 15 months to do so. And we weren't taking no for an answer, but providing them with the information and the evidence. And it's clear that it was there. And it's gotten a lot quieter in Colleton County. And that's why our numbers have gone down at the Colleton County Detention Center.
Thank you very much. And the last question before the summations, and it goes to Sheriff Strickland first. What are your top 3 priorities should you be elected? Or I should say re-elected.
I'm claiming it. Once re-elected, I will continue to reduce crime. Colleton County cannot afford to take a turn in the wrong direction. We worked too hard to rebuild the image of Colleton County. We will continue to have a strong police presence and gain the support of the citizens that we serve, and to show that. We understand that we must earn it. We know it can't be expected. Maintain safe neighborhoods. We will continue to dismantle criminal organizations and ensure the safety for every citizen in Colleton County. Implement more programs for our youth. And it's hard to come in and to change a child that's 18 or 20 years old. We've got to start it early, and we have to start with the parents and at home. But we are very involved. We get calls all the time, and we never say no. People need us to come and talk to their children. They want to bring them to the office. We listen to them, and we want to be the example. We have to reach out to our youth at a younger age. During my term, I've implemented several programs, one which was our summer camp for our youth. I spoke earlier about how it changed one child's perception of law enforcement. We had one kid, and he was in Hannah's class ever since an early age. And me and him, we just connected. We had a special bond. And I kept my word to him. And the principal, Cindy Riley, I called her one night about 10 o'clock, and I says, listen, what's such and such? I need a contact number for his parent. I want him in my summer camp. And I'm telling you, he ran the whole camp. And it changed his perception of law enforcement. And this kid, he wasn't a bad kid. He just didn't have a whole lot of structure. And we had him a birthday cake, and we sung him happy birthday, and he made our camp what it was. He stood out. And if you could save one child, and you're making a difference.
Thank you. And Mr. Rhodes, what are your top 3 priorities should you be elected sheriff?
When I'm elected, one of the first things I'll do is hire more people and show up the road. Be understaffed on the road and also in the jail. That's one thing I would do, hire qualified people. Number 2, I'll change the process in which people are hired, so we get some of the best qualified people. We go through the psychological evaluation and background checks and make sure we're getting real good people to work on the road, and then also the jails. Also, I would build better relationships with the communities, bring the community back together. It's a big divide in Colleton County between the races. It shouldn't be there. And it can start within the sheriff department as far as how we being transparent and doing the right thing at all times and bring the communities back together.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Rhodes. And before we get into the 3-minute summation, I want to remind everybody that you'll be able to actually see tonight's Meet the Candidates on websites. We actually have 3 of them. It will be at walterborolive.com. You can also go to WALI937.com, and you could also go to PRTC's Facebook page. So you will be able to see we are recording Once again, the debates for tonight, and it will also be shown on Channel 57 if you have PRTC's TV as well. So once again, at PRTC's Facebook, WalterboroLive.com, and WALI937.com. Now we're going to move on to the summation part of the program. And once again, Mr. Rhodes, you will be up first. You have 3 minutes to sum everything up, sir.
Okay. As I stated earlier, I'm a 47-year-old resident of Carleton County. I got 21 years of law enforcement experience. I looked through the audience and I was hoping I would see one of my buddies in here, but he's not here. And I talked to him earlier this week, Mr. Sanford, Mr. Mark Sanford. And he went through a spiral in his career, you know, when he was our governor. And look at him now, you know. I had a spiral in my career, you know, not my own accord, but it happened. But that's water underneath the bridge right now. I'm moving forward. With my experience, my leadership abilities, I can make Carleton County a better place to live for everyone, not just certain portions of the people in this county, but for everyone. I love people, and you can look back on my career, and you can see I've always been involved, even when I wasn't in law enforcement. A couple of years ago, I was at a basketball game, homecoming basketball game. It was a fight between two gangs in the gym. There's one deputy in the gym, one. When he ran outside to call for help, I was the only person there trying to break up the fight along with some other kids. And then finally, backup came and about 30 people showed up. I was at another basketball game a couple months later where a fight broke out between the basketball teams. And the deputies were there that time, but they came late. That shouldn't happen. As I go out this community, cutting grass and doing what I do every day, talking to different people, and I see different things, and a lot of things could be changed, a whole lot of things. And that's what I'm here for. Like I said before, I'm a strong leader. I stand behind my word. And you don't find that too often. As I say, open door, a real open door, not just for some people, but for everyone. And treat all my employees with respect. That's why I should be your next sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Once again, for the 3-minute summary, Sheriff Strickland.
Well, I was born and raised here in Collin County, and again, like a lot of other people in this room, there's a lot of hardships that I lost both my parents. I didn't let that set me back. I never disappeared for 4 years of college. I stayed here. I started graduate from Walterboro High School class in 1997. I went on and I took classes at Salkehatchie where I obtained my associate's degree during the day, while at nighttime I worked full-time in the radio room for the South Carolina Highway Patrol. So I started at the bottom to get to the top. I know 4 years ago it wasn't a Republican or Democrat thing. I did switch parties this go, and I can tell you why. I had four opponents on the Democratic ticket, and I didn't want to get into a runoff. I worked too hard to take that chance and lose. I know I'm a better candidate, that it speaks for itself, that we've been very successful. We put a good group of people together. We're very proud on what we've done, but 4 years isn't enough. We've got a lot more things that we want to do. This thing ought to be nonpartisan anyways, but unfortunately it is. You ought to be able to vote for me because of the individual, not because of my race. And I hope that people will vote split ticket rather than straight Democrat. After hearing me tonight, we work for all people. I don't disrespect any of my employees, but at the same time, they're not going to pull one on me. I'm fair to everybody. And if they don't want to do it my way, then, and I work for the people of Collin County and I have your best interest at mind, then I run it like a business. And I don't have any regrets there. Sometimes you hear things and it's not really the way that it is. But I'm here for all people. I didn't just start this because it's an election year. I started this 4 years ago, and I can back it up by showing you what I've done. I look forward to being reelected, and I think that, again, the numbers speak for itself. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, I know they feel safer. My opponent, Mr. Rhodes, he had a chance of running a police department a fifth this size and wasn't very successful there. The budget was $2.3 million, and I run a budget of 7.3. And we're proud of what we've done, and it's not anything degrading, but at the same time, that is my competition, and I have to put it out there and tell you that why I am a better candidate and why I want to continue to serve as your sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Strickland. And once again, want to say a big thank you to both of our candidates, Sheriff Andy Strickland and Otis Rhodes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our candidates for Sheriff of Colleton County.